the hip hop in him will still want to like flex and want to like push that ego to say, you know,
True.
look, I'm so much better than you at this being real. I'm so much better than you at being humble. You know, like
Mm.
it's almost like an
Being
oxymoron. You know,
humble.
it's like
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Big Bad Tiger, and welcome to 034 Issues. So, I usually do that with a lot of people, right? The thing is,
oh
today it's a
no.
different episode. It's a different episode because for the first time ever, we're doing an episode. What do you call this? Contrast calling. I think that's the term. I think that's the term. And today's guest, man, to me, and nah.
Oh
This
yeah.
guy is a legend. This guy is a goat, man. I know people like complain that the term legend and goat is overused and you use that word too much. Nah, nah. I mean, after the end of the episode, you're gonna see why this guy deserves his flowers, right? So he's a South African Hip Hop Award nominated artist, right? And also a South African Hip Hop Award winner with the Ubuntu activism at the South African Hip Hop Awards, obviously. And recently he won the KZN Film and TV Award, where he did some sort of controversial awards acceptance speech. I don't know if you think that was controversial, but not. But yeah, he also worked with artists like Carl Deutsch, Sketchy Bongo, OKMALUMKOOLKAT, Pishi Pasha Pasha, Gemini Major, the legend Khuli Chana, Nasty C, and our very own 034 artist Rey Ocean. So give it up, Bafetu. Aewon Wolf. What's up, my dog?
Aware.
You good?
I'm
You
good
look
in
you
you,
look
bro.
under the weather. Yeah, you look under the weather. Is it because of what was going on before the whole thing started?
I look under the weather.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not under the weather. It's just, I
I
guess, the light situation here is not the best.
oh well, okay, yeah, maybe I'm just judging you. So man, I think we should just
Yeah,
just jump into it. Right? Let's just jump into it, man. So can you tell me about like your experience during like the peak of your career, well, in the hip hop industry? I think I think like I can vividly think of the time where walking and dabbing was like in the streets like that. Like you remember that song? I don't wanna like give you too much credit, but I think you kind of like made the dab popular in South Africa. I'm not saying you did, but I think you kind of like gave it away. Like say this thing called dab and stuff. It was you, Gemini, and Khuli Chana, right?
Gabe, sorry, you cut there for a second. What did you say, Gabe?
Oh yeah, I was talking about like your experiences in like at the peak of your hip hop career.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like can you tell me about how was that like at that point where you were one can say on top of the world. What was your mind state and like how was the whole
Oh,
experience?
um, yeah. So I'm gonna answer how I best think I heard you because you were cutting there. But
Okay.
yeah, the experience at the top of the game or the top of the hip hop game when I was guessing you saying when walking and dabbing came out. Um,
Mm,
it was I mean it was an experience. It was experience. It was cool, but it also like it kind of like opened my eyes to like how this stuff is very perception based, and how it looks from the outside. Everybody perceives things differently, you know. And I got a good look into what the industry looks like and what it
Mm-hmm.
feels like to be at the so-called top of the industry, if you want to put it that way. And
Yeah.
it's no different to anybody else's situation, eh? Like I realize it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of hype. It's cool because from the outside you look great, you know, and people love looking great, you know. But it
Yeah.
doesn't change like what goes on in terms of your mood, your experiences. Like I think I got to see everybody who I considered was like the best behind the curtain. So I got to see the guys who I thought were like literally the top of the game or untouchable or legendary, and got to hang out with
Mm-hmm.
them and then realized they just like there's really like nothing different from their experiences to what the average person experiences. They have the same
Mm.
fears, the same issues, if not more, because with the lifestyle comes with a lot of exaggeration. So like, if you have a loss, for example, if you make a loss, you don't make a small loss, you make a big loss. You know, if you
Mm.
have um, an issue in your relationship, if you have an issue come with your partner, girlfriend, whatever, that is exaggerated 100 times more because you're in the limelight.
Oh
So
yes.
whereas an average person might have you know, a disagreement with their girlfriend, when you're at that position, what I saw behind closed doors is like it's not just a disagreement with the girlfriend; it's a disagreement with all of women and every fan of your
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend or every fan of woman like your girlfriend. And then now
That's messed up.
you literally dealing with a personal issue and a public issue at the same time. So it's like it's a very weird space, but like I definitely don't want to play down the good times because there was like good stuff that happened there that I always wanted to experience and I got to experience. But I think the main point I'm trying to get at is the good experiences are not exactly much better because of where I was at. I've had better experiences in a position where I'm less famous or less rich or less perceived as successful. I've had way better experiences after that. So that's why I'm like, I'm not gonna play it up and say, because I think a lot of people like to pretend like it's better, like it's so much better being at the top, the so-called top,
Mm-hmm.
than it is to
Yeah.
just be a normal person or an average person. There, there
Yeah,
there's
man.
there's there's positives and there's negatives. It depends how you look at it or decide to look at it yourself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, man, you did make a song called "Fall Off," and I think you addressed like a lot of those situations and
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, tell me like, what was like the reason that led you like to like move from the glitz and the glamour of the industry and like kind of like move to like a humble space? And was there like a particular points or like something that influenced that decision?
uh, yeah. There's a lot of things that influenced it. I think because I've been asked this question so many times, because it always comes up. Because a lot of people don't understand why you could give up so much. When I say so much, it's in inverted commas or
Yeah.
parentheses, whatever you want to call it. Um, the reason I like that I give most of the time is I point at what happened to my father and a person I considered a father figure to me. At the same time, they like 3 months apart. They both got hit with strokes. My father figure passed
Mm,
away, and my father almost passed away, but he survived. Um, and this happened exactly at the so-called peak of my career. So this happened end of 2016. So this is
mm,
at the point where like the so-called awakening or whatever you want to call it I went through to just say, you know what, I don't care for this, and maybe I need to find a better path, was
Mm.
when they got hit with strokes. Both of them back in their day were like the man, or perceived as like the guy, you know, like the
Yeah.
families, friends, societies perceive them as like, you know, they were the cool kids, for lack of a better
Yeah.
term. And my father, I've said this now, I think a few times in a few interviews, was like a well respected, feared man. Um, Back in the day, I don't want to say use the word term gangster, but
Mm.
that's the closest word I can say. He was like a feared man, let me put it that way, and had a
Nah, I hear
big
you.
reputation and made money and whatever and all those things. We were younger, and when he went straight and cleaned up his act and obviously tried to be a family man and, you know, change his lifestyle a little bit, um, in terms of that reputation. Um, a lot of people fell away. We went through a hard time as a family, like a very hard time as a family,
Mm.
because we were the family that had money, and then we now the family that's struggling, like heavily, can't keep the lights on.
Mm.
Almost lost the house a few times. Um, Water cut off, like the full shebang. You know, like I even had to do exams, study for my exams with the candlelight at one stage.
Mm.
Um, so and you never had food security neither. It's like you're not sure if you're gonna have food in the house and stuff. Like, and I respect my mother and even my father for trying and like trying to feed. They had a lot of kids in one household as well, so
Mm.
was a tough time. And for me to compare the two experiences, because when I was very young, he was this highly respected, very rich, very famous, from where he was, or the town he came from, guy, to now, like, people wouldn't answer his calls, people wouldn't even, like, you know,
Mm.
like, see for him in his tough time at all, after he provided so much for other people.
Mm.
So that has always been something that was in the back of my head, but I never took it serious. I still wanted to get that fame and that rich persona, or live up to that, you know, that hype. I wanted that. I
Mm.
still wanted that. So, but I never took it into consideration what happened to my father. Like, because I experienced it firsthand, but I never took it serious. And
Mm.
then same thing with my father figure. Father figure, he was like a very important man. He was the manager of Pirates, Orlando Pirates, when
Oh,
Orlando Pirates won their treble, when they won the, yeah. So like that the height
2011,
of Orlando
2012.
Pirates, when,
Yeah.
you know, when Pirates fan always tell you about their treble. He was the guy that made,
Yeah.
and he was like super famous, like well respected in the soccer industry, like very close to Ivan Koza. And
Mm.
then he also like went through a period where like tough times came, and when the tough times came, same thing. People
Mm.
disappeared. People weren't there. Family struggles. Nobody's there to support, to help. All the hanger honors or the people that hyped him up disappeared. You know. So it's like
Mm.
I'd seen both those situations happen, and then like, and I'd seen them like live up to those guys' expectations their entire lives, everyone else's expectations, and then as soon as they didn't fit that expectation anymore, I saw how people disappeared. But I never took it serious, and I still wanted to be respected by this public or this society and all that other stuff.
Mm.
The typical success points. So when
Mm.
these things happened to them both back to back, where, you know, my father figure passed away from a stroke, my
Mm.
father had a stroke, and I'm just like, now seeing people show up again. Well, not even for my father. They showed up for my father figure for the funeral.
Mm.
Talked all the good stuff, you know. And even where I was in my career, the sad part about it, where I was in my career, I was so busy and so booked. I didn't even have time to mourn, to be fair.
Mm.
And it never like clicked in my head that I didn't have time to mourn. And I justified it in every kind of way to say I need to hustle. I need to make sure that I stay on top because, you know, like someone needs to step up for the family. Someone needs to do this. Someone needs to do that. And A, B, and C. And now I'm in that position. I got to make sure that I hold it down, you know? So I
Mm.
justified not mourning, not going through the mourning process. Why, like, on the day of the funeral, I had to fly out the same morning of the funeral. Couldn't even attend the full funeral.
Mm.
Like all the excuses. I sent money instead of being there, you know, physically.
There.
And it was all these things playing at the same time that when my father actually had a stroke, my real father, my biological father, when he had the
Mm.
stroke, I just literally like almost like a light bulb switched on where I connected all the dots. And I was like, hold up. Am I not repeating the same shit they did?
Mm.
Like, am I not like living up to this, becoming them in their heyday, sacrificing my own health, my own relationships to have this perception of being famous or being the man or being rich, and at what cost? Because like I'm not satisfied. I'm genuinely not satisfied. Like I wasn't feeling like I was satisfied with
Good man.
anything. You know, like
Yeah.
I performed at a like we performed. I think at that point I performed at every major stage in the country. Um,
Mm.
whether it was Rocking the Daisies, Opi Kopi, and the thing is, like, I think a lot of people won't even like realize or acknowledge with my career is that I navigated both the white scene and the black scene
Mm.
pretty like heavily,
True.
which
Mm.
was very rare at the time.
Mm.
There was no artist really that was in both scenes. So I could be at a Rocking Daisies today, and then tomorrow I'll be at Pop Bottles performing on the stage. And
Mm.
that was like at that time very unheard of. And so I got to experience all the big stages, but even performing at those stages and getting booked and being paid or whatever was not satisfying. It really was not. Like I feel like that should have banged a little harder. That should have hit a little harder. What something
Mm.
was missing. You know, like I
Mm.
always felt like there's another one. I need to do another one, a bigger stage, or something else. You know, I even got to the point where we opened up with Justin Bieber. It was a
Mm.
sold out F&B stadium, and then we went to Cape Town and did a sold out Greenpoint Stadium. And
Damn.
we were the only opening act. The Wolfpack was the only opening act for Justin Bieber, and that was like literally a roaring stadium full of like people screaming and losing their minds for us performing. And I would say that would be like an epitome of an artist's dream to perform, you know?
True.
And on paper, on the day, it felt good. Felt like, yo, when you're gonna get that, this one of the biggest stadiums in the world, when you're gonna get that kind of experience ever again. And
Mm.
you do it back to back. So you do Joburg and then you do Cape Town, the two biggest stadiums in our country. And I
Bruh.
was like, at the end of it, like a week later, I'm sitting talking to someone, and it's like it really felt like it was nothing. It really didn't feel like
Damn.
it wasn't satisfying. Didn't do anything for me. Just it felt kind of empty. A week later, you
Mm.
know, it's like now it's like then what?
Just another thing, man.
What else is there
Yeah.
to it? Like what? It's just another thing, and I think with all these things like connecting and starting to make sense, I started realizing, hold up, it's not it's not a matter of trying to satisfy and be that guy for other people. I need to be that guy for myself. I need to become someone who I personally respect, who I will like say, yeah, I'm satisfied with that person, not a person who looks good at the outside world, but yet like knows he compromised himself to get to that stage.
Yeah, man. Yo, it's eye opening for like a person that really wants to be in the game, yeah, bro. It's very eye opening, yeah, bro, because the way you describe things, and I'm sure a lot of guys feel like that, yeah, bro. So I
Mm.
mean, I think this goes to the question is what advice would you give like or any like practical tips for like the viewers and listeners, nah, who may feel pressured to chase like the external success and the fame, or but deep down like they yearn for what? For a fulfilling and authentic life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like the main thing I can honestly say, when it comes to what I learned, is you need to listen, like listen to yourself, and be able to be, you know, quiet, separate yourself from friends, family, society. Just be okay with yourself for a period, and then like start to listen and question yourself and say, what really is it that you want, or what really makes you happy, away
Mm-hmm.
from other people, like, because other people, you can never control other people, like it's sometimes weird for me to talk about the things that I did or the things that I experienced, because you know I had done a lot, and to this day, like, a lot of the stuff that I did, like, there's very few who can say they've done that. But
Mm-hmm.
fast forward 4 or 5 years later, other people either don't respect it or don't acknowledge it or act as if it never happened. So it
Mm.
means nothing to them, you know? And yet,
Unfortunate.
at that time, you work hard to get that stuff, and then you realize, but everyone's gonna forget as soon as there's a new version of you, or a younger version, or a harder version, and they're just gonna move on. And yet you work
Mm.
really hard, you sweat really hard, you sacrifice your personal experience to satisfy a temporary situation, because they're only gonna love you in that time. There's no artist
True.
around right now. Like, and the thing is, like, there's when I say there's like a lot of reasons, and I just gave you the example of my father's using that as because I just want to simplify it for people. But like I'll use example of also another thing that happened at the same time. So Pro
Yeah. Which one? Which
is
one
an
first? Which one?
artist who I saw, like, the well, Pro Kid, if you want to put it that way.
Okay. Yeah.
So Pro Kid, yeah, but he dropped the kid, so he wasn't Pro Kid, it was Pro, like, just Pro. So you got to give him
Yeah.
that respect. You wanted that name. Uh, so Pro, I actually knew personally, and I worked with him on 2 seasons of One Mic,
Mm.
um, and like as just a friend, and I was also like friends with his brother, City Lights. So City
Mm.
Lights was best friends with my childhood best friend. So his best friend in Soweto was also my childhood best friend, um, and like almost like a family member for us.
Mm-hmm.
So I was pretty close with Pro and his like his brother and friends and family. So like I saw Pro at his peak, you know, and then I saw Pro years later. And
Mm.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The public doesn't deserve artists like that.
Mm.
They don't deserve artists like that because the public never truly appreciates the talent and the sacrifice such artists give. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Pro gave his basically his whole adult life to his art form and
Mm.
to that public. You know,
True.
and that public, as soon as you know he wasn't the in thing anymore, and there was a new whatever this and a new that, and new style, new generation, like moved on,
Mm.
and they don't care for what situation that guy might be in, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I use the example of Pro, I don't think people understand how big Pro was.
He was legendary.
I think even if I use examples that are a little more like he was like even to this day, like you cannot deny him or people cannot deny him of how big he was.
Mm.
But as someone who knew him and actually like was spending time with him personally, like I saw how the public forgot him. And how
Mm.
he still had to like stupidly prove himself for who he was.
Mm.
And it's for me it felt very disrespectful, and it also like made me realize this public doesn't care, you know, like these people who say you this the hottest MC whatever the for example, let's use the hottest MC list that say, hey, this is the
Mm.
hottest MC, this is my guy, this is the best, whatever whatever, will say this today. 5 years from now, they'll forget that hottest MC or the guy they fought for to say who's the hottest MC. They won't even care.
Damn.
They'll be moving on to
Mm.
whoever's the new hottest MC or the new hottest thing or the new hottest genre, you know, like whether it's
Mm.
Amapiano or whatever, like they'll decide that's what they care about and that's what they stand for, and completely forget about the artist who was trying to like appeal to them and trying to like make sacrifices to make them believe in them. You know, it's like
Mm.
the crowd will always move, and I don't blame the crowd neither. It's like when I say they don't deserve these artists, I'm not saying that the crowd or the public is evil. They're just human. Everyone is going through their own thing, living their own lives. They don't
Mm.
realize when they move on to the new hot kid what they're doing. You know, it's not as if
Mm.
they're trying to destroy artists or take away from artists livelihoods or lives. They're not doing that on purpose. It's just
Mm.
the way that the machine is built. So when you get the double HPs, the pros, the Zolas, these artists who seemed in their prime were untouchable or seemed like they'll
Mm.
never ever lose it. Then you see them years later and you're like, what happened?
Mm.
It's that machine doing its thing.
Mm.
It just moved on. It's always gonna move on. So you as the artist have a choice to either say, I'm gonna keep living this life that tries to keep up with what the public wants and serve them and try to hold on as long as I can, or you can just let go
Mm.
like I did. I just say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just gonna keep doing what I want. You know, like I know you
Yeah.
guys are not gonna like this. I know you guys are not gonna be into this, but I'm into it and I like it, so I'm
Mm.
doing it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's a choice you get to make. Because for me, it was a matter of whether I fall off now in 2017 or whatever, or I fall off in 5 years' time. It's inevitable. It's always gonna happen. So I'd rather fall off on my
Mm.
own terms. You know, I'd rather just do it on
Mm.
my the way I want to do it and the way that I know I'm healthy and I'm keep on being happy for the rest of my life. You
Mm.
know, that was the thinking.
Yeah, man. I will. I heard you like speak about the term fast food music and whole food music, right? So like, can you elaborate on those two
Yeah,
terms?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So that's something I came up with recently, and I think it best
Mm-hmm.
describes like where I went with the music. So fast food music is music that just it's easy to listen to. Like there's no question. Usually like what's the trending at the moment is usually gonna be fast food music. So what the
Mm-hmm.
majority likes, what the majority is willing to accept, and it's like it comes off as happy go lucky music. Hey, good time, December. Like the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that makes December right. And that's fast food music because the same way fast food is easy to accept. Like if you eat um, McDonald's fries and a burger or KFC or bring out KFC to
Mm-hmm.
like a crowd, they're gonna eat that happily. Everyone's gonna just eat it. Like, yeah, fuck yeah, we happy. Give us more.
Mm-hmm.
Keep giving us more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you went and there's a crowd event, whatever, and you gave them carrots and spinach, you'll see that
Mm-hmm.
crowd quickly turn on you and say, "What the hell is this? No, we don't want this. What? You're giving us rabbit food? Like they'll turn on you. They literally will hate you. Like if you gave that to a
Yeah,
crowd, you guaranteed that's gonna be a bad response. Um,
yeah.
but and this is where I was saying like I've decided to just say screw that, and I'm happy with whole food music because there is gonna be people in that crowd. So if you have a crowd of 1,000 people, and the 1,000 obviously will
Mm-hmm.
love McDonald's and KFC, um, but there's a few who actually understand that McDonald's and KFC is gonna kill them. It's gonna make
Mm-hmm.
them, happy in the moment, but feel shit the next day. Or if
Mm-hmm.
they keep consuming it, the more they consume it, the more the fatter they get, the more unhealthy they get, the more like sluggish, and they're just not gonna feel good, in life. So there
Mm-hmm.
is that few who understand. Okay, cool. I might not want the fast food music all the time. Maybe I do want
Yeah.
some carrots and some spinach, you know,
Mm.
and that's what I want to be. Like when I make music that first foremost must heal me. Like I make music now to like if it does something for me in a positive way, puts me in a good space, puts me in a mind frame that makes me feel good or feel healthy, and I know someone else in the right space listening to it can feel good, then
Mm-hmm.
I know, okay, cool, I made my music. And that's hopeful
I
music.
love that.
But if I try and
Mm-hmm.
force it on a and if I try and force it on a big group of people, I'm gonna get that response we talked about of negativity and everyone saying, "Nah, what the hell is this?" But
Yeah.
if I put it out there and I leave it out there, and I'm not forcing down anyone's throat. It's just there on the table. Those
Mm.
guys will say, what? Hey, I've had too much fast food. I'm literally not feeling great. I'm feeling bad. I'm obese. I feel like I'm dying.
Mm. Mm.
I need something that's gonna nourish me. They can go to that table and find me there. They'll find the music there, and they'll say, "Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Let me pick up that carrot. Let me pick up that spinach. Oh, it hits. Oh, let me drink that water. That water actually hits. Let me
Yeah.
let me stop drinking this soda, this soda, or this heavily caffeinated, sugar filled
Yeah.
beverage. Let me drink some pure water, which seems plain, but when you're thirsty and you haven't had water for a long time, it hits.
Yeah. It does.
So
It does. True, man. True.
I'm pretty much yes. So I'm pretty much trying to offer that. That's the space I'm in. Is like I can be water. I'm not exciting. I'm not gonna be
Mm.
probably what the kids get excited to go crazy for. But the
Mm.
people who need it will enjoy it. and the people who are
Oh
ready
yeah.
for it, and say, you know what, I just want to feel good. You know, I want to feel good about myself, be in a positive space, will genuinely enjoy it. And I've had that already, and I'm grateful for it. That I've had like people who get that, and people
Mm.
who have reached out to me saying that, hey, this music did this for me. You know, I recently got a
Ah.
message 2 weeks ago where someone was saying that a project I released saved their lives.
Yeah, I saw that. I
There's a
saw
project
that
I
on
released
IG.
called Healing, and he's like,
Mm.
and I was like, that's exactly what I released it for, you know. And when I
Mm.
made Healing, I completely made it from, if you want to say, a selfish point of view, in the sense that I made Healing for myself. Like it was a
Mm.
project that I needed to listen to for myself, because I needed music. I couldn't find music that was like giving that, or too much music that was giving that, that fitted with my taste in music. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mm.
I'm a hip hop guy. Like I love hip hop. I love spoken word. I love, you know, a little bit of rhyme here and there. You know, so
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of that in the hip hop scene. You know, like healing music, music that just gives me
Mm.
this positive affirmations that I could listen to and wake up and say, hey, that just put me in a good space. You know, actually, oh, let me drink some water. You know, let me remember to breathe. You know, let me. So I made that just for myself to listen to, and then I said, you know, let me put it out there because this thing helps me. It
Mm.
actually like heals me. And then when I get that message, it's like that's exactly why I'm grateful that it did that to someone else who really
Mm.
needed it. Because at the time when I made it, I wasn't that bad off. I was just like I just needed, like I was in a good space, but I just needed something like for myself to say, because I stopped listening to hip hop for a while. So I just needed to say,
Oh,
hey,
word.
I needed something that was hip hop based. Yeah, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
stopped listening to hip hop because too much of hip hop was too ego driven. And for me, I just
Mm.
like
Mm.
the ego in hip hop was just self destructive for me. You know, it's like I was trying to destroy ego, or destroy ego in my own life or my own situation. So, like,
Mm.
you know, with hip hop, if even if you get like a wholesome artist, let me think of an example like J. Cole.
Yeah.
And J. Cole is dope, and I dig J. Cole. But the hip hop in him will still want to like flex and want to like push that ego to say, you know,
True.
look, I'm so much better than you at this being real. I'm so much better than you at being humble. You know, like
Mm.
it's almost like an
Being
oxymoron. You know,
humble.
it's like so so for me it was like, ah, where can I get like someone who's just like removes that ego, because it's a big part of hip hop. But I
Mm.
couldn't find it, and it was like those one or two artists who I found that did have that. But I just decided, you know what, let me be that change that I want, and let me make the music. So to do that, when I did that, it helped me, but it also let me like it reaffirmed to me that I need to share that music and not just be selfish and keep it for myself, but share it because
Yeah, man.
there are people who are looking for it, you know.
Mm. I mean, dog, I think that's a really good perception, nah? Because I think, for see, that's where the term old who, like, we want the old Ye, want the old Cole, we want the
Yeah,
old A1. You feel me? So I
yeah,
think, but
yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah.
like your view is very important, man. Like, cause I mean, there's so much, man, into life. I wanna other than hype, boy. There's just so much
Yeah.
things to look towards to. It's a healthier lifestyle, boy. Instead of just like being on top of the world and then dying young. You feel me? But like to
Mm,
live longer,
mm.
well, it's very important, man. I think like a person that is open minded will take those words like very deeply. Well, hey man. So I wanted to ask you something now.
Yeah.
So you worked with an 034 artist, Ray Ocean. Like,
Yeah.
first thing first, Ray Ocean is a big artist in Newcastle. Yeah, but like a big, like mine is big. Like people
Nice.
adore him. People love him. Yeah, but when we create our own versions of like
Yeah.
the hardest MCs, he's usually top 5 or top 10, whatever. Yeah, but so tell me
He's
like
that
the
talented.
experience of yeah, yeah. So tell me about the experiences of like collaborating with him, like or collaborating with an 034 guy.
Like facts. Like the, I sometimes like why sometimes I feel like um I push to kind of get back in the game a little bit just to have a foot in. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I do it from time to time just to like remind people, hey, the reason I do that is for artists like Ray Oceans. Like I come across an artist who's super dope. Like he's like I think the first time I saw him, he had sent me a video on my DMs or something like that. Or I don't know where exactly I saw the video, but he sent me a video, and I listened to like a second, and 2 seconds in listening, I was like, this guy has something special.
Mm-hmm.
He's different. And then like by the end of it, I was like, hold up, the industry needs this because he's
Mm-hmm.
actually bringing something a little different.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way he came in, especially in the specific song he sent me. That the content was different. He was like coming with a perspective or mindset that I don't get from a lot of like young artists these days. Where he was like in the song, he was talking about just being happy or something, or just like being healthy. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's something I can put my weight behind. And
Mm-hmm.
I really really wanted to like push him in. Even at the time, I was just like, I really didn't want to be a part of like the game, or like I told you, I was already like over it and just wanted to do what I wanted to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he his talent, like, and it's not just Ray's. Like, there's been a few. Just makes me like feel like the industry needs to just open themselves up a little bit, give an
Mm-hmm.
artist like that their little 15 minutes, because like I said, like you're not guaranteed to stay in the sun forever. You
Yeah.
guaranteed you're gonna fall off at some point, or you're gonna, but at least give him his 15 minutes, because I felt like he deserved it. It's like when I
Mm-hmm.
started paying attention to his page, looking at the hard work he's done, like the hustling, like I think there was a video where he posted where he was like selling stuff in the streets, literally just hustling in the streets, and he posted that. I was like, yo, if anyone deserves that 15 minutes, it's this kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I 100% believe he will get his 15 minutes. You know, and
Yeah,
and
I
and
do
and
too,
that's
man.
that's the tricky thing, is that, yeah, that's the tricky thing. Sometimes guys give up before their 15 minutes comes.
Mm-hmm.
So with him, the reason I worked with him and I wanted to work with him was because I wanted to encourage him to not give up till he gets that 15 minutes, because you can change your
Mm-hmm.
life with just that 15 minutes to a point where you can end up being like me, where you just do whatever you want afterwards. So you do
Mm-hmm.
your thing, you get in the mind or the space, and then you can just do whatever you want. Like, I literally to this day don't have to really work to make money. I live
Mm-hmm.
off royalties, and I live off um, just creating the stuff that I like, because there's someone who's always willing to pay because of who I am and what I've done. So it's like, um, I don't really need to go out there looking and hustling.
Mm-hmm.
Part and also because I invested it really well when I had
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was making the income from the 15 minutes. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a big big part of it. So I wanted Ray to have that. And I think he will have it. And it's good to hear that you say that people in the 034 are giving him that respect, because I think he
Mm,
deserves that respect. But unfortunately, what I've noticed with KZN artists is that KZN kind of sleeps on their own for the longest time, and
mm,
it's kind of difficult for them to break while still in KZN. Whether it's in the 034, whether it's in Richards Bay, whether it's Durban, even
urban.
like
Mm,
yeah, like the artists are at a certain caliber. Like they'll be the best of the best in terms of their talent, but in terms of
mm,
their recognition, they're like it's a big gap between where their talent is and where their recognition is, compared to someone in
mm,
Joburg or artists in Joburg, who like their talent is. I'm not saying that the artists in Joburg their talents are like bad, but their talents is good.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's okay, but their recognition is beyond, out of this world,
Mm,
where like
mm,
they are literally respected at this level that is way beyond. And it's obviously because of not just their talent, but because of the hustle and the work they put behind it. So I don't want to dismiss that or play that down, because these guys work
mm,
hard in Joburg. But it's also environment and the society that plays its part there. There's a ecosystem that has enough
mm,
people invested in these guys that allows them to be as big as they are. And
true.
in Durban and Newcastle and other smaller cities, there's just that ecosystem doesn't exist. So like for example, I dig that you're doing this podcast, because you doing a podcast
Mm,
is a big part in actually helping artists break. And I hope the artists
exactly.
that side respect that, and
Mm,
and appreciate what you're doing, because that's what you're doing is part of what I'm talking about when I say the ecosystem that allows them to flourish. In
mm,
Joburg, there's a million podcasts you could probably jump on now, but I'm sure in
mm.
Newcastle, you're probably one of maybe three or four. I don't know. I'm not sure how many podcasts you guys got going there now,
Yeah,
but I'm pretty
it's a
sure
growing
there's not a
industry
lot.
now. Yeah, it's growing
Yeah,
industry. We're having like a few more
but
podcasts now, which is a good thing.
yeah, but you guys are gonna be like a big part of making an ecosystem that's viable for artists to blow up in Newcastle, so they don't have to leave
Mm,
Newcastle necessarily.
mm,
Because if the more of you guys exist, so the more podcasts, more platforms, um, any kind of platform, because the things with radio is a little harder to achieve, TV shows harder to
yeah,
achieve, but at least with this new social media era, the entry point is a little easier. If there's
true.
more of you guys, then the ecosystem can start flourishing to allow the artists to blow up in Newcastle. So someone
Yeah.
who I don't know, um, I'll watch your podcast and then be like, oh, who's this guy? And I
Mm,
can be like, oh, this guy's actually pretty dope. Reach out to them, do a collabo. Once they do a collabo with me, they seen by someone else who's like, who's that guy? He's pretty dope.
mm.
Do a collabo, and the next thing they launch themselves without having to leave Newcastle.
Yeah, man.
But
That's
in
the whole
as
point of
as
all of
as it
this.
stands right now, yeah. But as it stands right now, like everyone has to leave, and it's sad, and it's like,
Mm.
yeah, I just want the industry to grow, but God willing, Ray Ocean
Yeah,
is gonna
man.
be that guy when you.
And he will, man. I strongly believe that. I strongly believe that, man. Like, it's not only when you like see him on socials, nah. It's like when you have a conversation with him, you can when you get like to pick apart
Mhm.
his brain, right? You can see that nah, this
Yeah,
guy has a lot to offer, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Mm. So, okay, man. So, can you discuss? It was this time, right? It's a memorable moments that occurred in Newcastle when you pulled up here with that big ass Red Bull, what is it, truck?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and
Yeah,
I mean,
EV, they call it EV.
yeah, I mean, I watched the videos, but like, tell me what was going on like in that moment. Were you also like expecting that kind of like vibe and everything when you pulled up?
Well, the idea was, so I spoke to Ray when we did the song together. So like what happened is
Mm,
we did the song together, and I was like, okay, cool. I hope this song is gonna like get you out there or get people like paying attention. It's a cool song,
mm,
like, and I was working on a project at the time. I was gonna start working on a project at the time that I wanted to just release.
mm,
So I was like, okay, cool. How is this gonna work for you? Like, do you do shows where you come from? Like Newcastle is, how's the response? And he was like, hey, 034 is a little difficult. It's quiet. There's never shows. He
mm,
tries and hustles shows and whatever. So I was like, okay. So I thought in the back of my mind, because when I came up as Aewon Wolf and with the Wolf Pack, Red Bull did assist me
mm,
with getting us out there, like just to like do stuff on the ground. And I used to do things with the guys like Gemini Major, WTF,
mm,
other artists who I was bringing up at the time or helping at the time, um, where we like get the Red Bull vehicle and we just do a pop up show.
mm,
Um, and that pop up show would work in getting like a fan base or people hyped up, about something. So I was like, okay, I have this relationship with Red Bull. I know the guys there pretty well. Um, Let me see if I can call a favor. And I was meant to pick up Ray for something else. I think I was meant to pick him up because we are gonna go shoot the video for Say It Louder. So I was gonna
mm,
like pick him up. So I said, you know what? Instead of me picking up normally, let me try and get this events vehicle and let's do like a show there. Cause I know Red Bull wants
yeah,
to get out to as many places they can do. So let's do them a favor and actually I'll do them a free show, whatever, for
mm,
for their side, so that they can take it as a marketing spend and they can justify why they're there. But
mm,
this is a Ray show, so we end up calling it Ray Day. So we end up calling it Ray Day. So
mm,
I just told them, bring your people. Just tell people if you're gonna be there, and I'll come with this vehicle. We're gonna set up and we're just gonna perform.
mm,
And that's what we did. And we just literally got there, Vince vehicle. We announced it the same week of, and people showed up for Ray. Like I gotta give Ray that clout, like because he was able to
mm,
like pull people last minute, and then
mm,
they showed up, and it was like a pretty cool show. Like we just like jammed. His
mm.
grandmother and his mother were there, and
Oh wow,
I
that's
don't know if you know
nice.
Ray's
That's nice.
situation. Like his mother, yeah, his mother's in a wheelchair, and like she still made a plan to get there.
Mm.
And that
Yeah,
was
man.
pretty cool for her. This was the first time she seen him perform,
Mm,
and she enjoyed it. So it was a really
mm,
cool, fulfilling experience. Because, like I said, it's like things need to fulfill me or make me feel like good about what I did.
mm.
And yeah, that was a really cool day to still rate it.
Yeah, man. I guess it's like that's why it's really important to give people the flowers. Yeah, well. And I mean, I started this podcast with my partner, Master C, right? Who unfortunately is not here with us today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. So Hey, I made it seem like the guy died or something. No, no, no. Who's not in
Like
this
he passed on.
episode?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
no, no,
That's
no. Who's
actually
not
what
in
happened.
this episode? Yeah, well,
Okay, for a
so
second,
yeah,
that's
we
what I
started
thought. I
this
was like,
podcast. Yeah, man. We started this podcast because of things like this, man. We wanted to give people the flowers. You feel me? You actually like the first
oh
guy
yeah.
outside the city that we actually having in. Yeah, but so as that like
Thank you.
giving like people the flowers. Yeah, but and showcasing them. We also artists, by the way. We musicians, but we actually took this time to like, you know what? Forget about me. You know, let's see what the other guys are up to. Yeah, it was not
Yeah,
not to leech off of them or like to use them as as what like or what is a stepping stone to stop so something. No, it's all like
yeah,
it's all love. Yeah, so love, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
man.
key.
So
That's key. That's key.
yeah.
Like I won't lie to you. If you really in this game for the long haul or for the right reasons, you
Mm,
you will you will get what's deserved to you. You know, like I believe in karma. I think karma
mm,
is a very real thing. So if you're showing love and genuine love, like to the other artists, you get that love back. You know, and
true.
it's probably like for me, um, the best thing you can do for yourself as an artist is to keep
Mm,
doing something like this where you're actually not just helping yourself but helping others.
mm. Yeah, man. So like, what are the plans, man? What are you actually like planning to like collaborate with other artists from not particularly 034 but like other different cities to
So I've got something that I'm working on that's pretty big.
mm,
Uh, it's probably the most ambitious project it's the most ambitious project I've worked on since original Aewon Wolf or the warehouse really.
mm,
Um, yeah, since the warehouse, it's the most ambitious project I've worked on. That I'm gonna be launching next year.
oh
That is I've already hinted it or I've already spoke about it on my page, on my socials, but I haven't shared a lot yet because
mm,
it's still in the process. I'm still working. Um, but it's basically a full orchestra and choir
mm,
that that I've put together. Working with a pretty big partner now on the project. So
mm,
as of next year, people will start seeing that. And with that project, it's back to the whole food music. I literally I'm only going to be making music that to me nourishes the soul and
mm,
makes people feel good in a positive way. Um, but might not be everybody's cup of tea, but because of how grand the project is, we dressing up the vegetables really well. Let me put it that way. So
yeah.
so if you don't like your vegetables, we putting them in very nice fancy packaging to make it a little easier to eat.
Mm,
so
mm,
so so at the same time, like I believe in whole food music. It's like yeah, consider this to be the choir
yeah.
of whole food music, where it's got fast food tendencies but a little healthier.
Yeah, so it's also what's the term, Gwenji? Orchestral hip hop, because that's the genre you named
Yeah,
your
so
sound. Yeah.
yeah, so Well, it's just a temporary holder. I don't have an actual name 100%
Yeah.
yet. But orchestral hip hop is a placeholder. But it's just, yeah. I think we'll figure out the name next year once we start actually releasing this stuff. But it's not just my music, so I'm gonna be doing a lot of collabos with this project.
Mm.
So with the orchestra and the choir, um, I can basically hint it now. Like you get the scoop on this. So I'll do something like, for example, a Ray Ocean's collabo where
Mm-hmm.
I find the right song or the right vibe, and we make an orchestral version of the song, um,
Oh. Okay.
a
Okay.
more epic,
Mm.
grand version of the song, and put that out. So that will happen throughout the year, not just like from known artists to unknown artists. Like I'm just basing it on the music. If the music is right, like I can pick someone I'm like close with, a friend of, and if they make a song that I think suits it, I'll just be like, yo, we gonna make an orchestral version of the song. And then we
Yeah, man.
we
That
we
sounds
make it,
interesting.
it works, we put it out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Yo, dog.
So
It
that's
was it
that's the
was lovely.
project.
Yeah. It was lovely having a conversation with you, man. It's I don't know, man. As this thing of energies. I don't know if you believe in those things, but like if you're in the right energy and then you talk to someone and that person gives off like the energy that you need, it's fulfilling, man. It's wholesome. It's whole food, if I may say.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. I appreciate 100%. The same
yeah, man.
goes your way. Like I feel you got a good spirit about you, a good energy, and I did enjoy this interview. I didn't even feel the hour. It's now been an hour. I didn't even feel it.
Yeah, man. I just noticed that right now, man. But it's hey, if the people wants like whole food, they'll appreciate the hour, man. They'll appreciate the hour. So we have a little segment here, nah. It's called word of the day.
Yeah,
I don't know if you got something for us. You can share with
yeah.
us like the word of the day.
Um, yeah. You did say I must prepare something. I didn't. Sorry, but I think I have something that might help.
Mm,
So there's an old saying that goes, um, "Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice."
mm, mm,
If if
mm.
if you if
Yeah.
you let that if you let that sink in, that
Mm,
that
yeah.
that that could change your
I feel
entire
it.
life. Yeah, that could change your entire life. You
Mm,
know, perception is very important. Choose your pain.
mm.
And choose your pain
True.
wisely, and you'll never have to suffer. You know.
Mm,
So yeah, I think I can elaborate a little bit just to help people, because it takes a while for it to sink in for some people. But um, the best example I can use to explain it is, you can either choose, for example, go to the gym today, work out. That's a pain. It's not something you want to
mm,
do. So you experience that pain right now,
mm,
but you stay healthy. Or you can choose to say, I'm not going to go to the gym, and then you get unhealthy, get sick, and then you go through the pain later in a much worse
mm,
condition, a more
mm.
prolonged pain,
Yeah.
um,
I think
less identifiable
that's a
pain.
perfect example. Mm, mm.
Yeah.
Hey
So,
man,
in which case, at that point, you then stop.
hmm. So I don't know, man, if
Yeah.
you
So yeah.
are
So
you
that's
still
just
into these
enough.
things,
That
but I'm just gonna do it anyway, man. Yeah. So
yeah.
can you like plug yourself, man? Whatever the socials, whatever is going on, whatever if anything specific you wanna promote, here's the platform.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you for the platform. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, you can check out my stuff at Aewon Wolf. I'm Aewon Wolf on pretty much every platform. Um,
Hmm.
but as of next year, there'll be a new platform. I just can't announce it yet. But
Okay.
it's not necessarily a name change. It's not a name change. It's a
Whoa.
name growth. I'll put it that way. So the
Hey
yeah.
man.
So there'll there'll be a different name next year.
Hey man, I don't know, man. The wolf is going. I don't. You try to tell me the wolf is going.
Yeah, the wolf will no the wolf will always be the wolf will always be
Oh
like
yeah.
I've come to the realization that I'm not gonna get rid of the wolf.
Yeah.
Originally in 20 I think 2017 18 I was full on gonna end the wolf. Like the
Oh.
name was over. Like I even did interviews saying that I'm gonna get rid of the name because at that time I realized people were still attached to the old
The old
A1
you.
Wolf or the old Wolf
Hmm.
as as you're saying the old yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to get rid of the name. So since that time I wanted to get rid of the name and I was gonna get rid of it. But then I remember that the issue is not the name. Because the name was came from a real place.
Hmm.
Um the issue was what became attached to the name. So
Hmm.
with the wolf, I always keep the wolf because I want people to see the growth in the person in the A1 Wolf persona. So there'll
Hmm.
always be A1 Wolf for them to see that growth. But now there's going to be a new
Wolf.
name change or new adaptation of the name. It's not wolf. I'm dropping the wolf part. The A1 is staying, but
All right.
it's like the final form. You know when they say like there's Super Saiyan level one, Super Saiyan twos.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you
I
always
was
get into
thinking of
another
that, man.
level. This
Yeah.
so this is like final form of the name. Yeah, so it's like gonna A1 something. So
Hmm.
and that's gonna be just to make it easier because that the reason why I even I'm just going with the new name is because um, there's some people who don't understand who won't understand these two different A1s or
Hmm.
the A1 Wolf from the past and this new A1. So I want to make it
Hmm.
easier for people who find me now. Like I said, like
Hmm.
I'm making whole food music or whole food content or art or whatever you want to call it. Um,
Hmm.
so if you find this now, I don't want you because of the algorithms and the way Spotify and the way YouTube and everything else works. They
Hmm.
want to like promote your most popular stuff. So I
Hmm.
don't want you finding this A1, whole food A1, and then saying, "Oh no, why is now being promoted all fast food A1?"
Hmm.
It
Yeah. I
confuses
can.
a lot of people. So I'll come across a lot of people. Yeah, I've come across a lot of people who some people who didn't know me from the previous A1 like come
Hmm.
at me now and say, "Hey, I thought you were this type of artist, but then I just saw this other stuff." And then I try to explain to them, you know, look at the date. Look at the date. That's that's 2016. That's 2015. That's 20.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for some people. people don't really have that attention span to even like look at specifics. They just know, hey, I'm expecting
True,
this
man.
because I came here
Yeah,
for this. Start making it
yeah,
easier for
man.
them.
Alright, dog. I wish you like. I pray that everything that you do is a success, cause people need people like you. But we need more A1s out there. Like I feel like that's really important. Like, cause I think it takes away the pressure of the whole industry. But if we have guys like you that are easy to talk to, well, you sound like the guy I could like vent to. You feel me? So I think we need more people like that. Yeah, well, we need
Thank you.
more. Yeah, we need more men. We need more men like that. Who are easy to talk to, like other men that can talk to. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
but then I think you get my point.
I get your point, 100%. I fully agree. Um, we need that space for, especially you guys, like the younger guys who are still gonna experience the stuff we've experienced and might
Mm,
not be able to be lucky to navigate um, the same way we did,
mm,
because information is power, and it's key, and information is a lot more difficult to come across now because of the internet and the way the social world works now. People
mm,
only want to share curated content or something that makes them look good, or that
yeah,
only shows a certain side of them. And
um,
unfortunately, that removes the opportunity for guys to learn from the mistakes or learn from the experiences of artists. Because like I said, I got to actually spend time with Pro personally
mm,
and be in the space where like I saw this thing firsthand, with guys like JR, with Slicker, even
mm,
WHP, like to extent I actually saw it like a little closer behind closed doors. I got to see
mm,
um, what is going on.
mm,
And with that, I learned a lot. Whereas
yeah,
someone coming up now will never get that opportunity, really,
hmm,
because
true,
the way the internet and social media and everything works now, that someone will blow up now overnight and then get to work with like the hottest MC at the moment and never really spend
mm,
time with them. And they don't really
yeah,
need to spend time with them. They only see them on social media or on the phone or whatever. And they
mm,
presume that they know that person or what they're going through. But they'll never get that
mm,
unless they had that conversation behind closed doors. So I think it's important that you, like you're saying, that these conversations happen and they exist amongst men, because a lot of learning happens there in those
yeah,
vulnerable moments.
man. I think we unpacked a lot. Um, with that note, man. I think we should end it. Avo, a person that is enjoying
Mm.
this is sad right now, but then it is what it is, man. Ah, I, I hope this
Yeah, yeah.
relationship doesn't stop. Um, yeah, we still have to like talk outside the whole podcast and music thing. But see, yeah, I think with that notes, we out.
No, no, definitely. Like, feel free. Now that you know me and you have my
Hmm.
number, like feel like I'm open to everybody who I who I work with.